Alright, Tomboy Official was up. So I said I'd post something a little financial related. Um, Again, not financial advice, but just my own experiences with finances. And mind you, I'm not like perfect at this stuff either. I get impulsive and buy a bunch of stuff. I got a problem with concert tickets, guys. Like I just if the money's there, I will buy it. Like and I'll figure it out, you know? I'm like I want to go to this, I'm going to do it and I'll figure it out. Hmm. But part of the time, I do find that motivating. Like, you know, sometimes, I find certain things that motivate me out of depression and things like that. Like, not, like, I don't know if I get like depression that's like too severe. It's just kind of like I just don't want to do the things I need to be doing. And sometimes it kind of gives me a kick in the butt to just be like, oh, I just spent like a couple $100. I need to kind of like make some more money now, you know, especially because I'm kind of like doing my own thing and it's up to me if I want to make money or not. So sometimes it's like, like nobody's going to be like, hey, you didn't come in today. It's like, well, if I don't make money, then I don't make money. Like it's up to me to like get up and go do it or be online and do it or don't do it, like it's up to me. But the thing is, I really don't get a lot out of like sitting around watching shows and movies and stuff. Like I can do that for maybe like a week every so often, like a few times a year, but that's about my max. Like I usually can't do that. Like usually it makes me feel depressed, it makes me feel unmotivated, it makes me feel like what did I just waste my whole day doing this? You know, I feel like it's not worth it for me a lot of the times. But, you know, I want to talk about credit. Uh, so this isn't going to be very long. I've talked about it before, but I want to just talk about a simple way to approach credit. So credit, um, you can either focus on it as the debt perspective or the building credit perspective. Some people are better with credit than others. I would say, I take Caleb Hammer's approach. If you are not good with credit, don't tempt yourself by even having access to it. The in my opinion, the only reason to have credit is so you can build it. I don't think it's wise to have it too much as an emergency thing unless it's like a responsibility thing. Like if you're like, I don't know, this is maybe not smart. This isn't the best way to financially plan, but I would say if you're in a state or a phase where you don't have any money set aside and you don't have any uh emergency money saved, you could potentially open a line of credit just so that you have some money in case you need something urgent, like a car repair, so you can actually get to and from your job, or like I know Dave Ramsey always talks about his $1,000 emergency fund, and people are complaining like $1,000 that's from like the 80s or whatever, but honestly, if you have $1,000 saved, most things that you need, unless it's like the most expensive version of some kind of thing, like a new engine that might run you like $5,000 or a new car or whatever. But like if you just need like a tow, tow your car somewhere, or you need to get AAA or add to like the AAA tow or get a car battery or tires, or I mean $1,000 isn't going to really cover all your tires, but unless you get like used tires and you don't get it aligned and they don't charge you for the warranty and like So like it's really not gonna pay for everything, but say if you lose your wallet and your cards in there or something, it could kind of be enough money to like get your cards back reinstated, get like another copy of your driver's license, maybe lose that day of work to have to go to the freaking DMV and like get all this paperwork back and stuff. Like it could help you, you know what I mean? Like $1,000 could help you. It's better than not having any money. But if you don't have $1,000 saved, an alternative, maybe not, I wouldn't recommend it, you know, but an alternative method could be having like a credit card. There are some cards you can get that have like a $500, $700 limit. I think, I don't know what the name of the cards are. I think there's one that's by Milestone that I read about that's like $700. Um, but it's actually 500 because there's like a fee of 200 or something. So that one I think people say is easier to get. I think First Premier is easy for people to get. I don't know if there's any other ones. You can usually get secured lines, but most people don't want secured lines because that means you have to pay. I would almost recommend secure lines, but you have to be honest with yourself. Like, and that I think is the hardest part with people with finances. Now, again, when I'm recording these, segments about finances, I am not talking about people who can't afford to eat, who can't afford the gas to get to work. I'm not talking about people in those categories that are like struggling so hard that it's like they can barely make it. Like those are completely different situations. I'm talking about, the people who have the income that they need to live off of is just maybe, ordering too many Uber Eats, overpriced foods and, going out to eat too much and buying too much stuff that's not a necessity, how to kind of control that. A lot of that's going to be behavioral. Usually people buy stuff. Consumer culture, this is my personal belief. Consumer culture comes out of, I don't want to say it. I think it's maybe it's judgmental for me to say this. Maybe I'll just talk about my own experiences. Whenever I feel the desire to consume something, if it's not like food or a necessity, it's like it comes out of curing some part of boredom. It's like I want to go to a concert because I want this extra super duper experience that I don't get when I'm just hanging out at home like doing my own thing, you know. Or it comes from a place of I don't feel well, I don't feel good, I need something to pump me up, you know. Or, I think sometimes for me it comes from lack of creativity. Like the less creative I am in my days and in my life, the more I need some kind of like external thing. Like if I'm working on music and like journaling and writing and making like writing poetry and drawing and painting and like, you know, even the stuff I do on like websites and like all this online stuff, just I consider my analytic type of hobbies and podcasting and things like that to be creative. I like the learning experiences and stuff like that, but if I'm not doing that kind of stuff or if I'm kind of stuck on some of it and don't have a day like today where I wake up and I'm like, all right, I want to continue where I left off yesterday because I was like having a good time with it. If I don't have that, then, I don't really think then I think it affects my spending habits too. If I'm missing some things in those areas that I just mentioned. And I don't think I'm the only one, but I think I should just say that towards myself because I think it's maybe offensive to say that most people experience things that way. But consumer culture makes you think that, it gives you FOMO. It it gives you kind of like, I don't know. I study advertising, guys, and the psychology behind it is very controversial. You know, that's why I don't like watching TV. I don't like commercials. I don't like that kind of stuff because I'm perfectly fine not knowing what problems I have with my facial blemishes and things like that. I remember specifically being at the mall. It's like an outdoor mall, and you know how they have those kiosks with the little carts where they're like selling stuff, and it's like someone's business and they're selling something, and it was open, and I'm walking past, say I'm leaving the gym or something, and I, go past this cart, and there's somebody selling this like makeup stuff. So I kind of slightly stop because they kind of get in my path, and I'm like, like fine, like kind of like what, like, but I just kind of entertain it for like 5 seconds, I'm like, I'm gonna tell them no, but I'm like, okay, give me your little spiel, if you're gonna give me something free, like something useful, like a free lotion or like a free little like sample of like perfume that maybe I could stick in my gym bag and just have some little extra, you know, thing to use when I get out of the shower there, or if I'm going somewhere right after the gym, it's like, cool, give me a little freebie. I'm not gonna buy anything. I don't really do makeup and all that kind of stuff. But this lady gets in my way and she's like, "Oh, like, do you use this kind of stuff?" And I was like, she's like, I think she asked me like what kind of like products I use on my face. I'm like, soap. And she's like, "What kind of soap?" I'm like, "Whatever kind of soap I'm using to take a shower, I wash my face with that soap." Like, I don't even know how else to answer that question. Like, I don't use like face scrubs and all. I just use freaking soap. Like, soap, lotion, chapstick. That's basically it. Like, deodorant. I don't have like any extreme thing. My hair care regimen is kind of like way different because I'm a black person, so like we got a whole situation going on there. But I mean, you know, when it comes to, what I put on my face and all that kind of stuff, it's like whatever. But she points out, she's like, "Well, you got some like dark spots, and it's like, what? I mean, first of all, my skin is brown, so whatever you're seeing is dark. It's already dark. But that's what I mean. Like, if somebody's pointing something out to you so that you can buy their thing because you're like, oh no, somebody recognizes that I have like dark spots. I never recognized anything on my face that bothered me where I was just like, oh shoot, like I got this thing that I need to like fix. Like, she's the one who pointed it out to me, and I never cared until she mentioned it. Nobody else was looking at me like, hey, you got this thing on your face or like whatever. Like, nobody else seemed to care. I just knew she was trying to sell a product, and I kind of saw through that. And I'm like, yeah, you're gonna find something to point out because you want me to buy your thing. But until she mentioned that, I never would have thought to buy any of the stuff that she was selling, right? Commercials are the same way. You'll be sitting there minding your own business, watching whatever sport or whatever you're watching, and then all of a sudden you want a burger or a pizza or a Coca-Cola, or all of a sudden you start worrying about like the products that you use in your house to clean, they're not good enough because look at all these little animated germs moving all over the walls and stuff. Like, oh my gosh, I have a pet, and like I need to use this different shampoo for my pet because look at all these little animated bugs in the commercial. I don't want that nasty stuff all over my carpet because I have a dog or whatever. Like, you would have never thought twice to even like buy it. And then they got a QR code on the screen that you can scan real quick and just purchase their thing. It's like, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Like, think for yourself, Think for yourself. Like, yeah, you want that cool car or that cool phone or that cool whatever, but you never would have known that it existed if you didn't see it in a commercial. I don't know what the hell is out there. Like, I don't know anything. Like, I've got a friend that often like is asking me about like news stories. I'm like, I don't know anything that's going on. I know what I study, and if there's an advertisement that comes up while I study that I had happened to see, or when I'm at the gas station and there's some news clip about some freaking thing on the TV when I'm trying to pump my freaking gas, and there's a little monitor there telling me all the updates. That's the only way that I know what's going on, is when it's pushed in my face. I don't actively seek it out, you know. So I try my best to skip over advertisements and everything, but then I also use advertisements because I sell stuff. So it's kind of like, whatever. Um, but yeah, so what I'm trying to say is all that affects your spending. And so be honest with yourself. You know, a lot of this stuff bypasses some psychological layer, with advertising. It bypasses the part of your analytical brain that sees through things, and it plays on your impulses. So just know that. Try to get in the habit of thinking about every freaking thing that you buy. Am I buying this because I'm exhausted and tired and I really need to buy this Uber Eats, you know? Or is it the healthiest choice? I'm trying to make healthy choices and I really don't have energy to make a healthy cooking choice. So I'll buy this $30, $25 meal when I could have used that for, like, 2 days worth of groceries, 3 days worth of groceries, you know? I mean, one meal versus 2, 3 days of groceries. I don't know, guys. You gotta do the math on it. But when the emotions get tied up in things and the behaviors get tied up into that, spending becomes a problem. So talk about credit. We need credit so that we can. Well, we don't need credit. We A lot of us who get involved with it prefer it for the convenience. You want to buy a car, you don't want to pay cash outright. You know, you have credit so that you can get a better deal. Your interest rates and all that are going to be outrageous, and you're going to end up paying a fortune for a car if you have bad credit compared to someone who has better credit. They actually end up paying less money for the same exact thing. Houses are the same way. Housing is the same way. If you want an apartment that you want to have or a house that you want to have, your credit has to be in order, because once your credit gets in order, you can buy what you want without anybody telling you that you can't have it unless somebody else buys it first or they prefer someone else. But if you have stellar credit, it gets your foot in the door real easy, and you get a lot more benefits than the person who has no credit or bad credit. So it's good to keep your credit good if you are going to use it. If you're not going to use it, you need to start paying things in cash. Um, and I would say there's no reason to have debt. There's no reason to have credit card debt once you wipe it out. Usually, the reason why people have it is because they either didn't have urgent spending money when something urgent came up, or it's an impulse. I want to buy this thing, but there was no real actual game plan to pay it off. So let's talk about paying it off. I'm not a financial advisor or anything, but I can tell you what I do, and it works. I do a $10 a day. You know, the problem why I think most people can't make their payments is because the minimum payments seem like a lot of money. If you're paying $40, $70, $300, that's a lot at once. But $10 a day, most people, even if you don't make a whole lot of money, most people can either afford $10 a day or make $10 a day. Now, I've lost money a little bit on this because I do these weird things where I like transfer money to like a PayPal account or something, and that costs me a little bit of money. So it's going to cost a little bit of fees on my end, but I do it because it works. I can think, okay, take $10 out of this account and put it in PayPal. Take $10 the next day and put it in PayPal. Take $10 the next day and put it in PayPal. You do that for 10 days, you've got $100 if you don't count the fees and stuff, because there's fees. And then you just take that money and you just pay for whatever the $100 thing was, when it's time to pay, or just pay it early. Or if you have a card that's very flexible, just put $10 on that card every freaking day once you've made a purchase. Even if you have $700, within 70 days, you'll have it paid off, you know, um, versus not paying it at all because you can't afford the bigger chunk. $10 a day is usually one, maybe a combination of one or two Uber Eats deliveries. So even if you don't have the money, if you do have a car and you can use it for Uber Eats, you can easily do one or two deliveries after work because you're driving home anyways. Just turn on the app, get a delivery or two, put it towards your credit. It's not like it's excessive. It won't even take you an hour. It's less than an hour out of your day every day to get $10. You can get $10 a day doing that. It's not that hard. Um, just every day after work, go get it, you know, and then you'll have it paid off. And that's kind of how I do, you know, I'm like $10 a day. If I have a $200 card that I maxed out or something and need to pay it off, shouldn't take me more than 20 days, you know, and that's max, 20 days max, you know, usually it wouldn't even take that long. So that's all I can really recommend for people. I'm like, you know, try to make it simple on yourself. Either take the psychological approach and don't buy stuff. Or if you're already in the hole for a while, take responsibility and pay $10 a day, you know, and it'll get paid off. And it's annoying, but you can do $10 a day. It's not going to burden you that bad. Usually you'll just have the money sitting in your account anyways, and you can just $10 here, $10 here, $10 here, you know, and it's not going to feel like that big of a burden. And especially if you have a way to deposit the money on your own will without having fees and all that kind of stuff, and just put it into the card every time, you'll be surprised at how fast you pay something off. Or even do $20 at a time or $15 at a time. Those are small amounts of money, you know, that you can do. And that's how I pay stuff off. If I feel like it's too much to take a chunk, get the little amount. Or if you're trying to, you know, because that'll build your credit back up. Or, you know, just make sure you're not maxing out and make sure you're doing that 20 to 30%. So if you have a $200, I'm just using that as an easy example. If you have a $200 secured card, you know, 20% or 25%, or sorry, I'm tired. I'm getting tired. I need to eat, but I can't calculate right now. Um, yeah, if you're doing 25% of that, it's like $50. So either a little less than 50 or a little more than 50, that's like 20 to 30%. But if you're spending far over $50, you know, you're spending too much at once on that card. Same for if you have like a 500 limit, um, you know, you don't want to spend more than 25%. 25% is an easy number to calculate, and that's why I was saying, when I had a secured card for 200 a month, I would just buy something off like um, Uber Eats or something, or if you have something that you already know you have to make payments on, just put it on that card. If it's like a payment plan that you're on for something, a lot of concerts nowadays have payment plans. If you get a payment plan on something of a concert, just put it on your card. If it's going to be 25% or whatever, and then just pay that off and do like a $10 a day, every 10 days you'll have like $100, and that's not a lot of money, per day, but it adds up. And for me, it's easier to calculate how much money I need per day or per week than it is, I calculate how much I need per week, and then I divide that per day and try to make sure that everything's going to be on time. And it just takes time to sit down and like map it out. But it's like once you do that, you're golden. And people are always like, oh, like I have all this debt and all this stuff. You just gotta organize it and just pay it down little by little, in a convenient fashion, and then don't do it again. Don't keep doing the same stupid pattern, Don't keep buying stuff that you can't pay for if you don't have a game plan. If you're not like, okay, I'm gonna eat lentils and, I don't like saying top ramen because it's not healthy. I mean, I love top ramen, but I don't like saying like eat ramen every day because like I don't think that's like sustainable food to really like get nourishment unless you're putting like a lot of vegetables and all kinds of stuff in it, but usually people aren't making it super healthy. They usually It's usually not healthy. So you can get soba noodles. Soba noodles aren't that expensive. They're way healthier. They're buckwheat. Um, and I think those vermicelli noodles, they're rice. They should be healthier. I don't even know what ramen's even made. Like real ramen, I think is healthy for you. Real ramen noodles, but the instant ones, I don't even know what that is. It's not even like it's some processed dried thing, right? It's not like eggs. It's not egg noodles or rice noodles or buckwheat noodles. It's just like I don't know what it is. Are they even wheat? Like I don't even know what it is. Like I don't know. I don't know what it is. But that's the easiest thing I would say to do. Um. All right. I gotta go make some breakfast before I get too exhausted this early in the morning. I've been up for a while, so and I have to eat. So, all right, guys. So hopefully that's helpful. That's probably the best tip I would say for paying credit down. And then just looking at your behaviors around this spending and being honest with yourself. Because it's easy to be like, oh yeah, I'll pay it off. I'll pay it off. Will you? Will you pay it off? Because if you know yourself well, and you know that every time you say you're going to pay it off, then you go prioritize other stuff. If you have a pattern where you're not really paying it off, then are you really going to pay it off? Do you really have that intention to pay it off? Like, what's the actual plan? Because most people just say, oh, yeah, like when I get my paycheck, I'll just pay for it. And then the paycheck comes and it's like, I don't really want to pay for it today. I'll pay for it later. And then later never comes, you know? So if you can't do that kind of planning, just do a $10 a day, $20 a day, $15 a day. Do a little bit of plan like that. I'll just pay a little at a time and pay it down little by little by little. And I think you'll be pretty well off. You'll be able to pay stuff off. You'll notice your score going up. You'll notice your debt going down. Now, don't accrue more debt while you're paying stuff off. Don't get more cards and start like getting more debt. You know, if you can't live off of your income, then you're probably not making enough money. So you got to get a different job. You know, like if that's the issue, you got to get a different job or take on a second job just to pay the stuff off real quick. But most people honestly don't feel like they have the energy to take on two jobs. And that's likely accurate. I think a lot of people can't I know that with the job that I was working before, there's no way I could have taken on a second job. Like I did side hustles, but I did those at my own will, and I was incentivized by being able to party with that money. So I know it works, but okay, guys, that's about all I kind of have to say for now. I yeah, I'm gonna go eat breakfast. So with that, thanks for listening.